right. Well, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast. Remember the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Certainly stress is a part of our lives now, and going to the refrigerator, which is right next to us, has become a lot easier. I have Brian Hose on, who is a pharmacist who lost 100 pounds since last APHA or last March. And I just wanted to ask him how he did it and talk a little bit about that. I've gone up and down, but certainly never that much. So Brian, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast.
Thanks, Tony.
Hey, tell me a little bit about what usually there's a trigger or something that starts you off. You were in line at APHA. I saw in the, on your Facebook feed or whatever it was. And was there some specific incident or something that made you decide, I just have to? Was it, I don't want to get to 300, or was it something like that?
Yeah, I feel like I've always kind of struggled with my weight for since high school, and even wrestling. I was always the heavyweight weight class, so I always well over 200 pounds. But as I started to creep up there and get close to that 300 pound number, I was like, something's got to change. I'm 40 couple years old. I'm not gonna be able to sustain this kind of body type forever. And I think it finally just clicked, and I just had the motivation to do it. You can't go anywhere or do anything now, so going to my basement and hitting the elliptical machine wasn't as terrible as it was when I had other options. So
okay, all right. And what, I guess, so maybe take us a little bit on the step by step how it works, because you own a pharmacy still and have certainly stressors in your life. So being independent in an independent pharmacy is not the easiest thing these days. So I guess, how do you avoid the stressors, or what is it that makes it work?
I think the smartest thing about their program, and I'm certainly not going to endorse their program as the only way to lose weight, but it put it in the palm of my hand and my cell phone. So it gave me, when you're multitasking, and as a store owner, I feel like I multitask all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I was able to grab that 5 minutes and use my cell phone to kind of read through articles on tips and tricks, and try to go through the program in small chunks.
Okay.
And, that was really appealing. It was easy.
What about the stress though? I mean, you've got a lot of stress, and residents have a lot of stress. How do you not just grab for food? I mean, I remember the Walgreens night pharmacist diet was pretty bad. Just go out into the aisle and find something like one of those, I don't know, just you'd kind of put some chips together with a soda or something like that just to stay awake. How do you keep the food healthy, I guess, is my question.
A lot of advanced planning. I think that was the trick, is that you can't allow yourself to get into a situation where you didn't bring anything, remotely healthy with you. And I think that was one of the big things to learn in the beginning for me, was that, you always have to have a plan. If you don't, you're going to eat something stupid. And that was obviously what was happening a lot of times in the pharmacy. We are notorious for having, expired candy and gifts from food in our kitchen area. It's like our table was this cornucopia of horrible things to eat. And it was tough in the beginning. That was one of the first pictures I posted to my group in Noom, was that this is what I'm dealing with every day. I've got a table of chocolate in front of me every time I eat my lunch, but got to find a way not to.
So tell me a little bit about that then. So I didn't realize there was a group involved. I thought it was just kind of you got emails each day, or somebody, you looked at your phone. What is the group thing about?
It's actually, so it's a phone app, and within that app, you have group interactions, and you also have a personal coach who checks in with you once a week. So you've got a couple different support systems that within the app itself. So the group is like a daily thing. You have a group coach who posts things pretty much daily, and then other group members, and you have your own personal coach that you can kind of, talk about things that you may not want to talk about in that group.
Okay. So it is a coaching program, but it didn't seem terribly expensive. Like you have to buy your food each week or something like that. It seemed like it was more about, it wasn't about getting food. It was about getting your head right, or is that
Right.
the right way to put it?
I think it was more about retraining how you think about food versus trying to sell you a product. They want you to be able to eat whatever you want and just know what the consequences of that are. It's a lot of calorie counting and food logging, which is something I'd never really done before. I know there's a lot of other programs out there that do that too. But just keeping me motivated to do that. The sneakiest thing they did was when they started to ratchet down that calorie count.
Right.
The only way I could get enough calories to feel like I wasn't starving to death was to work out. So it forced me to kind of make that life change that every day my alarm's going off at 5:30 and I'm going to hit the basement and get on the elliptical for 30 minutes. I'm going to do some stretching afterwards, and it's going to be an hour every day of something physical, whether on the weekends it's a bike ride on the canal. We're really close to C&O Canal here. Or it's going to be on the elliptical machine in my basement in front of, Netflix or HBO Go or whatever I can binge watch.
Okay. So you're not just down there by yourself in some dark tunnel.
No.
You can also kind of, and I do this sometimes too, I guess, where I'm going out to run, but I'm not really going out to run. I'm going out to listen to a book. I just happen to be running while I'm doing it. So it sounds like you've become incredibly consistent, though, that even without an alarm clock, you could probably get down there and it's a half hour. Is that relatively an intense workout, or is it just kind of something that you look forward to and it's more relaxing?
No, I feel like it's pretty intense. I'm running 2 miles on the elliptical machine in that half an hour, and a lot of it is resistance up hills, that kind of stuff. It's
okay. So resistant up hills, and then you get to binge watch a half hour of something. Yeah.
Whatever it is, something, some action. I finally got caught up on Game of Thrones, going through lots of different. If I ever run out of stuff to watch, it'll be more challenging.
The reason I laughed at the 5:30 is that I was at a CrossFit class at 5:30, and there were 5 pharmacists in that 5:30 class. So it just seems like, and this is something I found. If you actually look at the gender in a certain hour class or a certain group of people, parents versus not parents, 20-somethings versus 40-somethings, there's a time of day that tends to be like a sweet spot. And it sounds like before work is something you have to do. Have you tried other times that worked or didn't work?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, it's not my first foray into exercising and trying to be regular about it. And I have done it in the evenings when I get home. Problem is, I'm closed at 7. So by the time I'm home, I'm lucky if it's 8 o'clock, you eat dinner, you wait an hour or so, and you're working out at like 9:30, and you're trying to go to sleep like right after that when you're done. And it just, I mean, it works, but it never felt right. Like it was always a struggle.
All right. Well, our cortisol is highest in the morning, right? So we're just kind of going with the steroid and all of that stuff. So tell me a little bit about so one of the big things I have is the kids stressor. So I eat really well up until I put the kids to bed. And then it's almost like, all right, well, you deserve, and that's the exact program that's going in my head. It doesn't matter what's there. If it's a pumpkin pie, if it's cookies, if it's like, oh man, Halloween seems like it was a long time ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago, and I'm just kind of always like, you deserve this. And my brain keeps saying, you deserve this. Sugar, chocolate, salt, all those things. Is that voice still there, or is your voice saying different things than my voice is saying?
I mean, I think that was one of my things too. When I'd go back to lunch in the pharmacy and there'd be all this stuff, they'd be like, "Oh, you had a terrible morning. You had so much stuff, 2 pieces of Russell Stover candy or whatever it is." I think that one of the things that Noom has tried to do is teach me that that reward mechanism doesn't necessarily need to be food. Maybe it's a couple minutes of meditation by myself. Maybe it's just doing something that I want to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be food related. And before, it always was. It was always, oh, I'm going to have this great treat and I deserve it. And I think as I've gotten older, I've noticed that, no amount of exercise was going to overcome that crappy diet. In my 20s, I was in pharmacy school. I was, I feel like the things were easier. You didn't have that, 10-hour day at the pharmacy or 12-hour day at the pharmacy. I'd come home, I'd run, and, I'd ran a lot of 5Ks. I was in a lot better shape.
Okay.
I was in pharmacy school, but I had a crappy diet still. I was just in my 20s. I was able to overcome it. And in your 40s, you can't overcome that anymore.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. So I guess maybe talk to the retail or community pharmacists out there. Some are going to be doing community residency, and it's supposed to be quotation fingers easier in terms of the burden of the hours and things like that. But what about the just standing around all day? Are you able to get anything done during the day, or how do you kind of account for that? I know the drive-through to the counter can be a bunch of steps back and forth, but how do you kind of make being in one place less terrible than it is, or is that just how it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is how it is. I think it depends on how much you enjoy what you're doing too. I mean, we have great interactions with patients. We're able
Okay.
to get out in front of the counter a good bit, so we try to do as much of that as we can there. I think it is tough. I will say that losing weight has definitely made my feet hurt less and my knees be less painful from standing.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just picturing that, the 45, the 245 pounds or the 50 pounds in each hand, and just thinking of all that weight that is just, kind of hanging on you. And then all of a sudden that weight is gone. What plans do you have to keep it off? So as soon as I talked to you, as soon as I signed up for the, just that evaluation or whatever, all of a sudden my YouTube is giving me all the ads over and over again.
Right.
But they all talk about how they've kept it off. And I know that I think I made it to 160. I made it to 162 for like 3 days once in 7 years ago or 8 years ago, when I was just really into this kind of a kickboxing workout or whatever. And then I'm at the exact weight that I was before I had started that. What is it that makes it keep it off? Do you just stay with the program now as a maintenance? Does it change? How does it work?
It definitely changes.
Okay.
Don't have access to all of the after it expires. I mean, you don't want to keep paying them forever.
Yeah.
Which, what the trap people fall into. And so what it does now is I just have access to their calorie counting, weight tracking,
Okay.
and articles or anything like that. But I'm still counting calories. I'm still logging food, and I think that helps.
Okay.
And I think going forward, at some point, I'll probably stop doing that. But I'm going to weigh myself every morning, and if you start to see that number creep up, hey, maybe you should start logging your calories again, because you're obviously eating more than what you need to. So I think that's probably going to be it. And the exercise, I honestly haven't missed a day of exercise since April, and I don't know. It's just automatic at this point. So as long as it's automatic, I'm not going to give myself an easy out.
Okay, awesome. Well, I've asked you a lot of questions. Is there anything that maybe I missed or maybe didn't think about? Because it just sounds like the way you talk about it makes it sound like, yeah, I was 295 before, I'm 195 now. Things are better. So it just worked out. and I know that's you're I don't know. I always thought of you as Zen Brian. Anytime I've been around you, I just always feel a sense of calm. And I've never seen you in the pharmacy, but you've just always had a very calm sense about you. But anything that maybe I missed?
No, I mean, I think that's just me. I try to be able to, in retail, there's a lot of things coming at you, and if you let any of them get you worked up, you've put yourself back. Like you've got this, box you got to climb out of. So I think that just trying to be, like you said, very Zen. But I mean, I'm happy about it. Obviously, it was a big life change. So I think that. I think that maintaining it is going to be the challenge, and keeping that exercise up. And now that I've been able to force myself to get up at that hour of every day and just keep doing it.
Does it help you go to sleep earlier?
I actually wouldn't say that I've started going to sleep any earlier. I've been 10:30 to 11 o'clock all the time. I'm actually getting a little bit less sleep now, but I think I'm getting better, more restful sleep.
Okay. Yeah. Well, when you're 100 pounds lighter, the day is maybe a little easier to walk through and get through. And then when you work out every day, you've got a little bit more energy maybe. And then if you're eating healthy, that helps even more. So it seems like it's kind of this circle or cycle.
Even just basic health stuff. Like I used to have heartburn every night. I don't have heartburn anymore. I used to have problems where I would snore, and I don't snore anymore. So
Huh.
that just the basic things that, you tell people, if you lose weight, you'll be healthier. A lot of that is true. It definitely has made a significant difference.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you played the country music record backwards. You got your dog back, your truck back, your life back, all that stuff. So, all right. Well, Brian, thanks so much for being on the Pharmacy Residency podcast.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony.